Welcome to another Threes and TDs. It is night 2 of the draft. We are done with the draft for now. And I thought in today's video, we could talk about Shedeur Sanders and why Shedeur is falling so much in the draft process. What's going on? Why is Shedeur falling? There's been a lot of reports about this being kind of a Kaepernick situation. I wanted to address that. I don't think this is a Kaepernick situation. I think it's very different than Kaepernick. I think there's multiple things at play. So let's start from the top. The first thing that's at play is if you talk to any of the draft evaluators about Shedeur, about his tape, they said that he hung in the pocket, he was able to take hits, but he wasn't uber athletic, and there were better quarterbacks at the position. If you remember correctly, when this whole draft process started, even back to 2024, what was being said about Shedeur? It was Shedeur and Cam 1 and 2. When evaluators started looking at the tape, they saw a different story. The story they saw that was different was that Shedeur was not the player that everybody thought he was. He was a different player, and that's okay. But right now, what's happening is that he already had a day 2 or a day 3 evaluation. What does that mean? If you're drafting somebody that is day 2 or day 3 eval, you are probably looking at someone that is far more likely to be a backup than to be a starter. So when you have somebody that's far more likely to be a backup to be a starter, and you want that person to be all in, and you want that person to not bring a bunch of drama with him. And the issue with Shedeur, whether it's fair or whether it's not fair, is that Shedeur brings a lot of extra stuff. Todd McVay at the beginning of this evaluation said people left unimpressed with a Shedeur meeting. What happens is they have meetings. The prospects have meetings with evaluators. They meet with the coaches. They meet with the wide receiver coaches. They meet with the scouts. They meet with the general managers. Well, there were multiple reports, and now there were back and forth on this. So some teams were saying, I think Jordan Schultz was saying things like, well, that's not fair. They should put their name on it. And I agree. If you're going to come out and say something like that, put your name on it. Like literally put your name on something like that. At the same time, there's a brashness that Shedeur kind of comes with. There's a lack of humility. And I think Cam Ward has that same lack of humility. I think Cam Ward thinks he's the best player there. The difference between Cam and Shedeur is that Cam has the tape to back that up. You now have teams that are essentially saying, well, should I draft somebody like Shedeur as a backup if he's going to bring all the extra baggage? And the question is apparently not. Jalen Milroe went to the Seattle Seahawks. Dylan Gabriel went at the end of the 3rd round to the Cleveland Browns. Who else? Cam Ward went first. Jackson Dart went in the 1st round. I've heard that there are teams that have a higher grade on Kyle McCord, the quarterback from Ohio State, than they do on Shedeur. And so all of these guys are probably going to be backups. They're going to be developmental players. With that being said, I think everybody is shocked. Daniel Jeremiah had Sanders as his 22 best player. There were articles and reports that were essentially saying, hey, don't be surprised if Shedeur doesn't go in the 1st round. Okay. We are now on day 3. It is day 3, and Shedeur has still not gotten picked by a team. Look, there's a monetary piece of this. Like, I feel for the guy because Cam Ward is probably going to be making $40 to $45 million off of his rookie deal. And when you become a day 3 or day 4 guy, you're losing on a lot of money. Now, I know he's fine. This isn't a money thing, but I don't know that we have ever seen a quarterback or a player fall like this. You can point to Aaron Rodgers. You can point to Will Levis. You can point to different players. But there has been nobody that was at the beginning of this process, at worst at the end of the 1st round, to now we're going into round 4 tomorrow, and he still has not gotten picked. So this is going to be really interesting as it develops. If you were to ask me what is the best place for Shedeur, I think the best place for Shedeur is to go with Sean McVay and the Rams. They're year to year. Essentially, what they're doing with Matthew Stafford is that they're going year to year with Stafford. He signed it essentially, I don't know if it was a 1 or a 2 year deal. There were reports that that wasn't going to work out. Go learn and study under McVay and see what he has to teach you about what it means to be a quarterback in the National Football League. Just see what it's like. I think that would bode well for him because right now he is no place to be a starter. I mean, I love the confidence. I love how confident he is, and I love that he thinks he is phenomenal. But this is reality check time. You did not get picked in the first round. You did not get picked in the second round, and you did not get picked in the third round. And it's not some kind of collusion. The NFL is not trying to blacklist you. This is not the Kaepernick situation. This is a very different situation. It would actually bode well for ESPN and the NFL for Shedeur to actually get drafted in the first round. Why do you think ESPN is sending us notifications about Shedeur didn't get drafted? Shedeur didn't get drafted. I don't think this is some kind of collusion by the NFL. I think teams are concerned about his tape, A, and B, he's now a backup, and they would rather take a backup that's not going to bring the extra fluff with it. So anyways, we'll see what happens tomorrow. Should be fun. Hope you guys have a good night.